All right, good evening, race fans, and welcome out to Speed Racing Network, where we present the Speed Racing Network Cup Series playoff round of 15. This is week number 2 of those playoffs. We are here in Kansas for the Buschy McBuschy Lite 200. We've got 130 laps tonight, no fast repairs. It is going to be a great time. My name is Sean Griffith. I am here with my broadcast partner, Greg Olenek. Greg, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, buddy, I'm excited for this race tonight. After a great race earlier today with the real guys out there on the track, it's going to be a real fun one here at Kansas. A big multi-groove, 1.5 mile oval, really fast, and just a lot of lanes to drive in. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here tonight, Sean.
Yeah, anytime there's more room on the track out there and more, just these 1.5 mile tracks are so much fun to watch, especially in the Cup Series here, because there's still a lot of speed going on, but there's enough room that they can make moves.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of moves, and one certain move that we might see more than the other is going to be that slide job to get positions from other guys out there. It's really hard to pass here because you're going to have a lot of people defending up near that wall, so you're going to have to really dive down to get out in front of that car and really send it up in front of them to try to claim that position. And we're going to see a lot of crossover moves as well to come around. So it's going to be a really racy Buschy McBuschy late 200 out there at Kansas Speedway today.
Yes, it is, but I am looking forward to it. The first 2 races of the week, which were the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, were fantastic races. So a lot of green flags there. Hopefully we see the same thing here tonight, and so we can see some of these drivers actually move forward and as they go in their hunt with making it into the next round of the playoffs. So hopefully we can see those drivers out there tonight.
Yeah, I was out there Thursday, as I always am, with the Xfinity guys. And one thing that I wasn't expecting that kind of snuck up onto me is this track changed a lot during that race. And the car tightened up a lot quicker than I was expecting. So we're going to see a lot of different strategies out there today to see what these guys can do to offset any changes that are going on in their cars. So I'm excited to get out there. We got about 18 minutes left before we get out there. So let's hurry up and get through all this so we can get to the good races, Sean.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how the Cup Series works here. So we do have 20 weeks. This is technically week number 15, but we are in the playoffs now. Fixed setups, which means everybody has the same exact car. No fast repairs, which means you damage the car. Sorry, that's what you got. $15 per week to get in. We do have weekly and season-long payouts, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But the big number on the board is $1,000 for first place.
Yeah, that is a nice chunk of change that these guys are racing for. And that $15 a week entry fee is not a cheap entry fee when you're talking about entry fees and iRacing. So there's a lot of tense racing going on out there. And, that no fast repairs clause really, cleans up the racing that we see here in the Cup Series. But we have seen it get kind of ugly from time to time. I don't expect to see that today, given, like you said, how much room we have out there. But, we only got, 6 more weeks before we determine who is going to walk away with that $1,000. So I think, tensions are going to be rising a little more than we think, and it's go time.
Yeah, this is moving week for these guys. They really have to get into position for next week or in 2 weeks as we head into Dover. So, one thing that we like to do here on Speed Racing Network is we like to interview our drivers. And so we actually have a driver from the Xfinity Series, Aaron Gerwitz, your teammate, Greg, and he has set up a little segment for us called Matching Wits with Gerwitz, and this week he is with Scott Healy. So let's check that out.
We are back with another segment of Matching Wits with Gerwitz. We have the number 64 Roell Smith Racing Chevrolet powered Scott Healy. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you today?
You're doing well. How did you get into iRacing?
I started when I was 13. I saw it on YouTube and I found interest in it. My dad helped me get started, and then after that I just kept going with it. It took a little bit of break, about a year or two, and then I started getting back into it, and after that I just kept playing, kept racing, everything like that. So that's how I got into it.
And practice does make perfect. We saw you get your first win in Martinsville. How did you accomplish that? With 0 fast repairs, it must have been you staying out front all night.
Yeah, practiced a lot those 2 weeks coming up. I got a new steering wheel, new pedals that helped a little bit. Overall, just kept getting on after work, before work, kept practicing. Found the speed, found the lines, and that's really how I pulled it. And then pitting where I pitted was a little bit of a mistake because I dropped back a lot in that race. And then I just kept moving forward as the time got on. Yellow flags kept happening. So I was like, all right, I got to find out where I need to be, how I can do it, how can I move people. Found my way up to James Holzer. It lasted a little bit on the green flags. And then when I got the opportunity to bump them, I did so, move them up the track a little bit, and then found my way around them. So that's how I did it.
And exactly, that's how you got to do it, the short tracks, the bump and run. But what is your guys' team atmosphere like? I know Jake Roell runs a very tight-knit group up there.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I play a lot of games with them out of iRacing as well. They're always, willing to help. They always want to be around each other. It's just a great atmosphere overall.
Yeah, you guys got a great team going on. From here, you guys have the team standings lead for the Cup Series. That is a very good accomplishment there. And I think that is all the time we have. So thank you for coming on tonight, Scott, and good luck on Sunday, sir.
Thank you, man. Have a good night.
Yes, you too.
And there you go, matching wits with Gerwitz with Scott Healy. And we were just kind of discussing, Greg, that Scott Healy, one of our favorite people out there, just a classy guy.
Yeah, in the last month or so, I've really built a good friendship with Scott, and he's just a really good dude. And I was so excited to see him get that win in Martinsville. He worked so hard all week to practice. Like you said, he got some new equipment, and he kept, checking in with me and asking for advice here and there. And, he didn't really need any from me because he clearly knows what he's doing and has a great team around him to help him out. So, it's really good to see him talking to Aaron. And, I kind of joked in the break with you. I'm going to kind of shoot Aaron a message, try to shoot him some mail and maybe be a poster of my car, put in the background of his shot, like spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, we gotta work on that wall back there a little bit. But let's talk about these race payouts right now. So we do weekly payouts, and so with the number of people that are on the track, it looks like we're going to pay out $55 for first place, $35 for second, $20 for third, and fourth place will get $15. But the big money is in the playoffs themselves because most of our drivers out there on the track right now are playoff drivers.
Yeah, this isn't the main goal for these guys right now. And what we're about to see behind this vault is what they are going for in the big picture here. You see that highlighted in green at the top there. First place is going to get $1,000 like we mentioned already. But if you make the final round of the final 5 cars in the playoffs, you're going to come away with some decent cash. Second place is going to get $600. Third is going to get $350. Fourth place is going to get $225, and fifth is going to come home with $150. So not too bad, Sean.
No, and then you got the all-important team championship there, which we'll discuss here in just a second. We'll show you the standings on that, but $300 for that team to split as well. And then, we also give out other awards. So one of those is the Butt Kicker Clean Driver Award. So the cleanest driver in the league is going to get a butt kicker system that will actually hook up to their racing rig, and it kind of makes you feel like you're actually in the car.
Yeah, just another one of the awesome awards that SRN offers up to the drivers. Not everybody's going to be the fastest guy out there every week, but this just offers another incentive to go out there and be the cleanest driver every week, and you're going to come home with a nice piece of equipment. These are not cheap. I mentioned every week they range about $180 plus shipping. And, you see that code down there, SRN VS20 for 20% off your order. That could save you $30. And then if you get more than one, because you can use up to like 6 of these, that's going to save you a heck of a lot of money. So take advantage of that code down there if you're interested in any of these butt kickers you see.
Yeah, and we talked about the team championship a little bit before. Roell Smith Racing, they are out in front leading that championship, and we'll show you those standings right now. So they've got over 200 points on second place, Filthy 5 Motorsports, and so they are kind of running away with this thing. But, Filthy 5, they've had some good weeks lately, and so does Team SRN. So we might see something here in the next 5 weeks or so, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, Filthy Five made that push towards the middle of the season to really start putting pressure on Roell Smith Racing, and I really think that brought out the best of RSR, and they have really put it on as of late. Dean Brummett getting his first win of the season not too long ago. I believe it was Richmond that he did that at, and then like we saw earlier, Sky Haley getting his first win of the season a few weeks back at Martinsville on top of Jake Roell's 4 or 5. I've lost count of how many wins Jake has. But all 4 of the 5 drivers have wins, and that's just impressive. And I really think Filthy Five Motorsports is responsible for that. They really got close to them.
Yeah, when you make up a third of the playoff field, then chances are pretty good that you're going to see some of those guys make it into the next round and eventually into the finals. But there's a lot of racers out there that don't have anything to race for, at least not in a usual league when they get into the playoffs, but we're not a usual league. In fact, we have a second tier playoffs. And so those people that did not make it into the playoffs are still racing for some money. Compliments of Flavor Bomb. Be sure to go to fbbbq.com and order your Flavor Bomb seasoning. It will change the way you grill.
Yeah, to use Vincent Cortez's term earlier on in the week, the Scrub Cup that I'm also participating in the Xfinity Series. This just offers another incentive for the guys, because we have a lot of people that join late in the season, and this just gives them a chance to make some money, because they don't really have a fair chance if they start a few weeks late. These guys are going to have points already built up, and it's an awesome opportunity presented by Flavor Bomb, a great company from David Duke, and right now at the top of this list, we got Jordan Bain from Ray of Racing, one of those drivers, like I said, who joined late in the season.
Yeah, Max Service in third is another driver that joined kind of late in the season. Danny Setzer only had half a season with a Seth Berger, Joshua Balliette. So a lot of these drivers are great drivers. They just joined a little late, so they didn't have the same opportunities. But, tonight we're here to talk about the playoffs, and we're here to talk about those playoff drivers. So let's take a look at those playoff standings. And Jake Roell from Roell Smith Racing is up front, but only by a point.
Yeah, these points have been really tight all season with him and James Holzer. And, Timothy Latham started off the season really hot with 2 wins back-to-back. So no surprise to see him up there, just 1 point out, too. Ted Rekich has always been a heavy contender if he can finish the race. And Scott Haley, like we just said, has come on really hot of late, only 11 points out of first.
Yeah, and let's talk about each one of these drivers as we go through, and we'll start off with Jake Roell. 4 wins on the season, but hey, last week was the second time all season. That's it, the second time all season that there was not a Roell Smith Racing driver in the top 5. Jake finished in 15th at Talladega in what he would definitely call a disappointing race, but he has enough space on the cut line that even a mediocre finish tonight, that could help him. But, I really expect a rebound race tonight.
Yeah, Talladega could definitely do that to you. But next we're going to go ahead and check out Timothy Latham. Latham pulled off a top 10 last week at Talladega, even having some damage. That's exactly what we've seen from him all season long, even though some damage can't stop him in the race, and it won't stop him from getting into the next round either.
Yeah, and James Holzer, who he's tied with, got that win last week. So most people would be kind of surprised to hear that Talladega was actually his first win in the Cup Series, but it was. He has had a lot of second-place finishes, but now that he's finally broken through, there's absolutely nothing holding him back anymore. So look for him to get his 11th top 10 of the season here tonight.
All right, in 4th place, like I said, Ted Rekich. Remember, Rekich only had 2 top 5s in the entire season before taking 4th last week at Talladega. If this is Ted coming into form, he's doing it at the right moment. He doesn't have as much wiggle room as the top 3 does, but he's been consistent enough for people to have faith in him.
Definitely, and Scott Healy here in 5th place. Last week he extended his top 10 streak to 7 races in a row. Think about that. 7 races in a row, all with top 10s. Nothing bad about that at all. But, while I'm not saying that an 8th top 10 will guarantee him a spot in the next round, it certainly sets him up to be comfortable going into a short track, just like the 4 short tracks we've already been to. And in those 4 short tracks, he's actually averaged a top 3 finish.
All right, 6th place, we're going to have Kyle Spees. Kyle also has 7 top 10s in a row. Like you said, no easy feat. I think I've only got 3 or 4 on the season, so that says a lot about these guys. It was a big week for Kyle Spees last week after finishing 3rd at Talladega and jumping up from 10th to 5th in the playoff standings. He was also a surprise number 3 pick in the All-Star draft. I hear he's an ARCA ace, like you said. His stock is climbing faster than Dogecoin.
Yeah, next up, Gabriel Ellison, he looks at Scott Healy and he looks at Kyle Spees, and both of them have 7 top 10s in a row, and he thinks that's just plain adorable. This guy, he has 12 starts this season. All 12 of them have been in the top 10, so 12 top 10s in a row. You know, I absolutely refuse to bet against him this week. He's only 7 points above the cut line, but I would put money on him right now making it into the next round.
Definitely. All right, 8th place, Scott Kalal. He was the last person to make it into the cut, you know, after being tied for 14th in last week's playoff standings. Now Scott is tied for 7th. A 2nd place finish at Talladega will do that, but he has to follow it up this week. If he stays out of trouble, he could knock a favorite out of the playoffs.
He certainly could, and there are some big favorites in there, but Dean Brummett is one of those favorites, and he's in a rare position. You think about Dean Brummett, and you don't think that he'd be sitting in 9th position, but he is. He finished in 11th at Talladega in what he would call a bitter disappointment. And now he's only 6 points above the cut line. So he has to do something to give himself a little bit of breathing room going into next week. But he likes these middling tracks, so look for him to have a really good finish here tonight.
Yeah, it says a lot about this Cup Series to see Dean in 9th. But going on to 10th now, Austin Reedy. He doesn't want to be on the cut line, but it's an improvement from where he was last week. With a good race this week and a little bit of luck, he could improve his position even more.
Definitely can. And Jacob Smith, one of those guys that, man, he was up way above the cut line. He was up in 5th going into last week at Talladega, but he had a 17th place finish there, and so that dropped him all the way down to where he is here at 11th. But keep in mind that Talladega is what I call the ultimate wild card. You know, anything could happen there. Kansas should prove to be a track that's a little bit more suited to the driving style of Jacob Smith.
Definitely. So another Roell Smith racing car here in 12th, Shane Good. 11 points below the cut line isn't insurmountable. Shane just has to be consistent tonight. If he can pull off a top 10 here, which we've seen him run in the top 10, I really like his chances heading into the Monster Mile next week. Or 2 weeks from now, excuse me.
No, that's okay. I've been doing that all week long, but let's talk about Mitch Rollo. See, I messed up once again. So Mitch Rollo. So last week was not Mitch Rollo out there on the track. I'll tell you that. So if that was the first time you've ever seen him on the track, be prepared to see something drastically different here tonight, because he is a much better, much more consistent driver than what he showed last week. He actually has a real chance to win this race.
I definitely agree with that. We used to seeing him run up front if he can stay out of trouble. All right, next, 14th, Damien Linenger. Damien has been in this position before, needing a couple of big races in a row in order to advance. He's done it before, and with Kansas and Dover coming up, he can certainly do it again. You know, he's had a lot of good finishes here lately. He had to have a good run at Richmond, and he pulled that off. So I have no doubt that we'll see Damien trying to do the same here at Kansas tonight.
Oh, not only that, he had to have 4 good races in a row just to get into the playoffs, and so he's had his back against the wall before. I think he'll be okay going into this race. So, but finally, rounding out the top 15 here, Brandon Key. And man, if there was no such thing as bad luck, Brandon just wouldn't have any luck at all on the racetrack. I'm telling you, he is the best driver out there on the racetrack that just gets into the worst incidents, and none of them are his fault. And so, but you know, the thing about the Speed Racing Network Cup Series is that things can change in an instant. So really keep your eye on Brandon Key. He's got a beautiful car out there. Don't be too shocked if you see it on the podium here tonight.
It's kind of crazy how much luck plays into your season, and it does affect a lot of our drivers here. But it says a lot to see Brandon Key at the bottom about our Cup Series drivers. So let's go ahead and take another look at these standings, Sean.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about it a little bit earlier. Very, very compact standings here. Only 16 points separates Brandon Key, who's in last place, from the cut line itself. But look going the other direction as well. Only 15 points separates Jake Roell from that cut line. So one bad race or one good race, either way, could mean the difference between making it in and not being anywhere close.
Yeah, you guys are kind of mad scientists when you decided to put Talladega as the first race in the playoffs. It really shook up our standings that we're looking at right here. Like you said, we had 5 RSR cars that made the cut into the playoffs in the first round, but right now we have 2 of them sitting outside looking in, and Jacob Smith and Shane Good in 11th and 12th. These are all just such solid drivers that are from 11th to 15th. So I have no doubt that we're going to see another big shakeup within the next 2 weeks in these standings.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. And let's get out there on the track right now and take a look and see how we're doing out there. But our qualifying is over, and Gabriel Ellison, the guy with 12 top 10s in a row, is up front for Filthy 5 Motorsports, followed by Jacob Smith, who needs a good race this week to stay up there in the playoffs.
Yeah, and just before I go on and read the rest of the standings or the qualifying order here, we mentioned that James Holzer kind of did the same thing that Gabriel Ellison is kind of pulling off right now before he got his first win. So we could be seeing something here with him grabbing that pole position. But in third place, we're going to have David Duke in that 78 Flavor Bomb machine. And then in the fourth is going to be Timothy Latham in that 5 Filthy 5 Motorsports car.
Yep, then you got James Holzer, who got his first win of the season last week at Talladega. And then you have Mitch Rollo, who, once again, he had a bad week last week. That was not Mitch Rollo in that car for some reason. But it looks like he's on track tonight.
Yeah, 7th is going to be that driver we saw sitting at the bottom of our playoff standings, Brandon Key in the 75 Rev Racing machine. And then Landon Lacey is going to be qualifying 8th after just missing the cut. 2 wins on the season. He's going to be a factor here tonight.
Oh, definitely. And then you've got Dean Brummett there in the 9th position for Roell Smith Racing, and Kyle Spees, who I'm telling you had a great week this week. He is up there in 10th.
Another one of the drivers that we saw join late in the season, taking place in that Tier 2 championship, is going to be 11th place Max Service in the 81 car for Tank Racing. Definitely a contender for that Tier 2 championship. And then rounding out the top 12 is going to be Scott Healy. Surprised to see him down here after, watching practice a little earlier. He seemed to have the fastest car out there, so maybe a little slip up in practice is going to put him in the middle of the pack, Sean.
Well, we will see if he can make it through the middle of the pack as we jump out there, and they are coming out of pit lane. They're going to make it one lap around, and then they are going to get this party started. So this is the customary time for me to ask you, Greg, who you got?
Oh, boy, you're putting it on me, huh? I'm going to go ahead and, man, I didn't even really think about this. I'm going to go ahead and take the easy, low-hanging fruit. We've been setting them up all pre-race show, and, the camera is fixed on him right now. I'm going to take that 27 car, Gabriel Ellison. I think he is due. We saw a first-time winner last week after trying to knock on the door all season long, James Holzer. I think it's Gabriel Ellison's turn.
Man, you stole my pick. You took it right out from underneath me. So I'm going to have to go a little bit further back in the pack. You know what? James Holzer won the first race of his season last week. I really think he's going to make it 2 in a row here tonight. So he's sitting there in the 5th position right now. And like I said, once you get that monkey off your back and get that first win, I think it's go time from here on out.
Solid pick. But we're seeing the pace car peel off, Sean.
Well, let's get this thing started right here with the McBuschy Lite 200, and Gabriel Ellison has the green flag. It takes off, and we are already 3 wide in that 3rd row.
Yeah, something we saw in the earlier race today on FS1. They just spread out 4-3 wide heading into 1. But right now, Gabriel Ellison's got all the track to himself, pulling out to a nice lead after that restart.
Yes, he does, and we're going to see how things shake out. Usually it takes a couple laps for these guys to kind of get lined up, and Timothy Latham goes down to the inside, but Jacob Smith throws a nice little block on him. Maybe they were just both going for the same spot at the same time.
Maybe, but yeah, that's a really hard pass to make. Maybe on colder tires might be a little easier, but you're going to want to try to make that pass on the high side, like we're seeing David Duke take a peek on Timothy Latham right here for 4th and 3rd. Timothy Latham going to have to shut the door a little bit, but right now Jacob Smith seems to have a really fast car as he's really on the bumper of the 27 machine.
Oh, and Timothy gets way loose there coming off that corner, and so he is going to drive all the way down to the inside, and James Holzer is going to be down there already. So now we're 3 wide back there for 3rd place.
Yeah, these boys are racy in the McBuschy Lite 200. I'm going to see how many times we could say that during this race because it's just flat out fun to say. So right now we got a lot of 2 wide action from 3rd on back. It's a really good race so far as these boys are getting after it.
Yeah, they are not wasting any time out there. But like we said before, we've got plenty of room out here on the track. Lots of different lines that you can play with here. And that makes the race even more fun.
Yeah, and as these tires start to wear, you might see them start moving down from the top line to the middle line. Not sure how much action we're going to see out here on the bottom line. I haven't really taken a cup car around here to see how they act, but I'm surprised to see nobody really up running to the wall yet. It's really fast up there, at least in the Xfinity cars, but right now they seem to be really liking that middle to bottom line.
Yeah, James Holzer, Jacob Smith, side by side for second place right here. And, man, a great race going on there, but Gabriel Ellison is kind of liking the fact that he doesn't have to fend him off just yet.
Yeah, Gabriel's doing a good job out in front, but these boys seem really fast and are really keeping up with him. Gabriel's not really pulling away from them like we usually see our leader do early on. You know, we're going to have a really good race here today, it looks like, as we got some heavy hitters up front with the 27 machine, your pick, the 42 of James Holzer, and Jacob Smith, who's really looking to have a good race. We saw him sitting 11th in the standings. He needs this really bad to keep his playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, 26 cars out there on the track right now, and of those 26, 13 of our playoff drivers are in the top 15 right now. So the cream is definitely rising to the top.
Yeah, and you see, I don't know if you saw it, but Landon Lacey came really close to hitting that wall on the exit 4 back there. He is using all the track he can, but he's up on that high line, and it looks like a few guys are starting to notice him up there. He's got some speed, so we'll see if everybody starts to move up a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like during the Xfinity and the Truck Series that high line got a lot of play up there. So just they got some good runs, and it looks like Jacob Smith is kind of struggling there a little bit, got way loose.
Yeah, he's very loose right now. He's trying to get that car tightened up a little bit. Maybe just letting James Holzer have it for now, not wanting to race too much, because we've seen it before when somebody is racing side by side with someone for a while. It can be very easy for your car to kick out on you, and you don't want to cost somebody else's shot at a playoff championship. So he's doing the good thing here, but as I say that, he's immediately under attack from Kyle Spees and soon to be Mitch Rollo too.
Yeah, Kyle Spees out there in the chat right now. Sue Nowak saying, let's roll, grandson. Number 36, Kyle Spees. And Miss Sue is always with us every single week, and we appreciate her being here and supporting her grandson.
Yeah, awesome to see Sue out there in the chat. We love Kyle out here. I play MLB The Show with him all the time. So he's a really good dude, and we love seeing you out there cheering him on every week and supporting us at the same time. So we appreciate it, Sue. But right now, we got battles everywhere right now, and that 64 machine who we saw qualify 12, still sitting there in 12, but really trying to get past these two cars here in the 78 and 23 of Scott Kalal.
Yeah, I really think that Scott Healy in the 64 will figure it out at some point during this race. Sometimes it takes him a few laps to do that, but once he does, be careful because he will start charging through the field with reckless abandon.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, you know, it really helps when you have a good team around you, and these guys on RSR communicate really well with one another and help each other during the race. So even if he's struggling right now, he's going to be talking to his guys, and he's going to figure something out here and make some adjustments during the pits. But right now, Gabriel Ellison still the class of the field as Timothy Latham and James Holzer are trying to run him down.
Yeah, and Holzer taking that high line. Timothy Latham kind of in the middle line there. So, and then you got Kyle Spees down on the low side a little bit further back. But so everybody just trying out the track, trying to figure out what's going to be fastest for them. And we're going to see that all throughout the race as Holzer gets up into the wall.
Yeah, and that's the bad thing about the high line is it's very easy to get yourself into the wall. Not too much damage there, though. I've seen worse hits from myself on that high line wall. But right now, it seems like the middle and the high line are very even. So it's going to probably change a little bit when these tires wear off. But right now, both of these lanes seem very competitive.
Yes, they do. And Kyle Spees looking at James Holzer now. Now that Holzer's been up into the wall, he's thinking it's time for me to take that spot. And so he is going to go down to the low side and try to make it work down there as he gets almost gets side by side with Holzer.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see some slide jobs. That's how we're going to see a lot of passes made today. And I hope these guys really practice that during the hour-long session that they have before the race. We'll see when the time comes, but right now it's really hard to pass. And you see the 42 struggling to get a look on that 5, and the 36 here is going to have a good run. He's probably going to dip down to the bottom. Nope, because Holzer is going to take that lane. So we saw it in the earlier race, and at 3 o'clock on FS1, you know, you have to really be watching your mirror and figuring out where this guy is going to go and try to get that air on their front nose to really mess them up a little bit. And also, if you're the driver behind, you got to kind of predict where they're going to go and try to get a good run off the exit.
Yeah, and Holzer takes the second spot. can't get enough speed there to slide all the way up in front. So Timothy Latham is right there side by side with him. We're going to see if Holzer can make this pass this time around, but it looks like Latham's going to get a lot of speed coming off this turn.
And you know who this is helping out? That
Gabriel
27
Ellison.
machine up front. Yes, he is loving what he is seeing right now. These boys are battling for second place, and Kyle Spees is really trying to get in on the mix, and that's only going to add to the I don't know how to say it, but this is going to slow them down even more because these guys are really having to lift for one another to not hit each other's cars, and Gabriel is just smooth sailing out front.
Now Kyle gets down to the bottom. Timothy Latham passed James Holzer back again, and now Kyle Spees is going to take him and slides right up in front of him, just like you were predicting.
That's our first slide job of the day, not the last one by any means, and right now, look who's coming up in fifth. We haven't seen him in a few weeks, but right now, that 7 machine, that first car we saw get up on the high line, he's figured something out here, and he's catching up to these guys after they were just really battling for about 3, 4, 5 laps there.
Yeah, Landon Lacey, one of those drivers that kind of joined a little bit late this season, and had he had an entire season in the Cup Series, I really think that he would be in the playoffs today.
So I know it's early, Sean, but right now we have 4 Filthy 5 cars. All 4 of them are in the top 5. So, you know, not all of these guys are battling for playoffs, but they are still very much in it for the team championship standing. So having a great day so far.
Oh, yeah. The Filthy 5 Motorsports has really been great all season long. They've had a lot of good finishes. Oh, as Kyle Spees and James Holzer almost touched there. But they've had a lot of good finishes all season long. And so it doesn't shock me at all to see them up front here. And they could desperately use those team points in order to track down Roell Smith Racing.
Yeah, and I know we used to say, like, you know, there's still a lot of time left in the season. Well, that's not the case anymore. We're running out of time, and, you know, Roell Smith Racing has a decent, 200-point lead on them, so they're going to have to really start chipping away, and they're doing a great job at it so far. If Kyle Spees can get past this 42 machine, that'll put 3 of them in the top 3.
Yeah, man. Speaking of Roell Smith Racing, let's check back with our points leader, Jake Roell. He's all the way back in 23rd. He is about 9 seconds away from the leader here. And so not really having the type of race that Jake Roell is used to here. Hopefully that changes here shortly, and maybe with a yellow flag, if there ever is one, maybe he can make some adjustments.
You know, we see this every week. Jake seems to start in the back, and I don't know if he likes it back there or what, but I have no doubt that 9 machine will get up front at some point tonight and be a contender for this thing. So, you know, he's got, 4 or 5 wins on the season so far. You know, there's a reason for that. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to pass cars. Even though this track is very hard to pass at, he is great at the strategy game. We expect to see him up front towards the end of this race.
Definitely. And so let's go up a little ways. We got Ted Rekich trying to track down Austin Reedy, but he just made the pass on Jacob Smith. And so, again, Jacob Smith, one of those drivers that really needs a good race. He started off back up there in second, I believe. Yeah, and so he's fallen all the way back to 14th. So, man, I don't know if he burned up those tires early or what's going on with him.
Yeah, not too sure exactly what happened to him, but, you know, all these RSR guys know what they're doing. So I don't doubt anything that he's doing. Maybe it's a strategy play that he's just kind of saving what he's got. You know, we'll find out later on. But right now, you know, another one of those drivers that we mentioned that's outside the cut, Damien Linenger, he's running about 11th or 12th and having a decent race so far, battling with Dean Brummett, who is one of those guys that's sitting just above the cut. So this is one of the awesome things about the playoffs. We have a bunch of storylines that are unfolding, and they're racing hard out there because they are trying to hold on to as many points as they can get.
Yeah, and they're racing clean out there too, because they know that if their car is not clean early in this race, then it is going to be a big struggle for them to even stay in the playoff cut.
Oh, yeah. So if you guys don't know already, most of these playoff cars, there might be 1 or 2 out there that don't have it, but all these guys should have the yellow banner and spoiler on their windshields and rear wings. So that's going to be indicative of whether they're in the playoffs or not, to make it a little easier on you guys to see what the battles are looking like out there. And, you know, you notice Landon Lacey, we mentioned he just missed the cut. He doesn't have one. But right here you see James Holzer with that yellow all over his car. That's how you can tell.
Yeah, the other way you can tell is look at your screen right now. Anything that's green, that means playoff driver for the most part. So take a look at all the green. So the green numbers, the green banner at the top, that sort of thing. That means they are playoff drivers. If it's a black banner with an orange number, that means they're not in the playoffs. So making it nice and easy for you.
Yeah, the green means they are running for the green. All $1,000 of that championship money is on the line. And this is a big race to take advantage of moving on to the next round, because there are no guarantees next week when we go to Dover. That is a heck of a track. It's very fast, 1 mile oval, concrete oval, and it kind of resembles Bristol. So remember the Bristol race we had earlier. You want to get as many points as you can get here this week.
Yeah, there are a lot of drivers out there on the track that really love those short tracks, but there's some that really hate it. And if you're not really a good short track driver, then tonight is the only night that you have a chance to really pick up some good points. And I'm not saying that Brandon Key is one of those, but we're keyed in on Brandon Key right now because he is currently 15th in the playoff standings, but right now running 7th and doing really well at it.
Yeah, and I can't remember the exact point total. I think he was, 20 points outside the cut. He needs to get every position that he can get. More than likely, he's going to still be sitting outside the cut next week because, it's hard to make up that many points in one race. So he's really going to have to come away with a top 5 or maybe a top 3 this week to set him up for Dover in 2 weeks. But right now, we mentioned him earlier, Kyle Spees, he is on the move. I wouldn't even count that as a slide job. He is just flat out fast on that bottom line right now, and he is moving on up.
Yep, Landon Lacey, they're in 4th. So again, 4 Filthy 5 Motorsports drivers in the top 5. And that is usually what we see from Roell Smith Racing. And right now, Filthy 5 Motorsports is beating them at their own game.
Yeah, Zaxby's is definitely loving what they're seeing. They came on board with these guys about halfway through the season because they were really performing well. So it's no surprise that they get a big name on their cars. And right now they are proving why that's the case. And Landon Lacey, I always like to joke with him. He's either checkers or wreckers, and right now he is seeing checkers in his sights as he is having a great race so far, running that high line. I expect to see him up there battling with James Holter in a couple laps.
Yeah, most of these drivers pretty well lined out all throughout the track here, and so when that happens, when everybody gets into one big long line, there's not a lot of side-by-side racing, which means there's a lot of green flag racing, and because of that, we've got green flag pit stops coming up shortly.
Yeah, these laps are just flying by. I'm trying to remember Thursday's race. I think we pit around lap 35 ourselves, so I have to imagine that these guys with a 70% fuel capacity in their cars are going to be coming down to pit soon.
Yeah, and it's looking like Justin Boyles has already jumped into the pits. I'm not sure if that was due to damage or if he was running a real strategy there. It looks like he came in for only 3 seconds, and I think he's out of the race at this point.
Oh, wow. That's not what we wanted to see, but hopefully he's able to get back in if he is able to do so. But, yeah, I mean, right now we are about 4 or 5 laps from seeing these guys come down to get 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel, and that's really going to set up the scenarios for, switching some things up here. You can make up a lot of time on pit entry here at this track, and you could lose a lot of time at the same on pit exit. So we'll see who really perfects it here and picks up some spots. But right now, Brandon Key is picking up another spot potentially if he can get past Kyle Spees here.
Yep, Brandon Key in the top 5 if he can make this pass. And again, he's had a really rough season and really a great work by him just to get into the playoffs based on some of the bad luck that he's had this season. But if he can turn that around here tonight, then I could see him making it into the next round and finally making a run.
Yeah, there's no reason he can't make it into the next round. Dude is super talented, and he's very driven, and that's why he's very hard on himself at the same time. And he's here to ruin Filthy 5 Motorsports' party in the top 5 as that pushes Kyle Spees back out to 6th. He's got his sights set on a very fast number 5 Timothy Latham.
Oh, I guarantee you the 3 guys that are on top on Filthy 5 that are here towards the top, they would be perfectly content with this type of a finish if the race ended exactly like this. But don't tell that to Brandon Key. Brandon Key wants that win, and he knows he needs that win.
He is making this look easy. Go ahead, Brandon. I see you out there. He's up to 4th place now. and he's going to have a tough time running down another one of the faster cars out there on the track right now, Landon Lacey. Him and Landon Lacey are pretty much running identical lap times, and that's exactly why they are picking up positions as quickly as they are. So I'm excited to see how this maybe future battle shapes out after these pit stops that are bound to happen in a couple laps. I'm trying to listen into the scanners and figure out when they're pitting, but not hearing much chatter right now.
No, not just yet. I mean, I think these guys are going to try just to stretch this as far as they possibly can, because if this thing goes green the whole way, then they may possibly be able to make it on 3 stops.
Yeah, and like you said, we've seen these cars very split out. I mean, right now, Kyle Spees and Timothy Latham are battling side by side, but that's really the only side-by-side battle we see on the track at the moment, so that promotes a lot of green flag racing. Now, it's very possible that these guys do maybe get into the outside wall and, maybe bounce down into another car because they are running that high line, but right now we're not seeing a lot of that. These guys are doing a great job of keeping their cars off the wall. We saw James Holzer maybe get into it a little earlier, but it didn't affect him much. He's still running second and very fast, so we could very well see this thing go green the whole time.
Absolutely. It's with all the room that is out there to make the moves that you need to make. What a great race so far by these guys. Damien Linenger side by side here with Austin Reedy, trying to take over this 10th position.
Yeah, and this is the time you want to do it. You want to just burn these tires off right now because you're about to make that decision to come down pit road. Oh, and Austin Reedy gets into the wall. That's going to make that pass a little bit easier for Damien Linenger. He might be able to clear him here on exit.
Yeah, one little mistake is all it takes for somebody to get past you here in Kansas. And, Damien not quite clear just yet.
Yeah, Austin really battling, and he's going to – ooh, they're touching.
That's close.
Wow.
Oh, now we got pit stops. So
yep,
leaders are in Kyle Spees, Timothy Latham, Landon Lacey, Gabriel Ellison, all into the pits. All together.
55 Motorsports comes down together. So I imagine, this was a team strategy call, and we're going to see a lot more drivers start to do the same here.
Yep, James Holzer takes the lead, and what he is probably going to do here, he's probably going to lead at least one lap, get that bonus point, because that could help him jump into the next round. And so we might see a little bit of that strategy also, these guys staying out just to get that bonus point.
Yeah, and I have to imagine that we're going to see Brandon Key right behind him do the same thing, even though it's going to cost him a little time because, those fresh tires are going to be a lot faster. But, that kind of offsets itself if these long runs do play out like we're seeing right now. So it's going to hurt him a little initially, but he needs every point that he can get. So he's going to probably stay out here and wait for James Holzer to pit and hopefully not wait too long. But right now, James Holzer doesn't seem like he's pitting anytime soon.
Yeah, you saw Mitch Rollo, Austin Reedy, Damien Linenger all going into the pits there. And they are about to be joined by Ted Rekich as he drops into the pit road.
Yeah, curious to see how long these leaders stay out, trying to get a good grasp on the difference in time as these cars are, getting their tires warmed back up. Going out on cold tires isn't very indicative of what they're going to run lap time-wise, but after a few laps, we'll see really how much difference there is in the lap times.
I got to jump to something here really quick because I saw something. I'm not sure I saw it correctly. Let's jump to Dave Fuge's car here, and I believe, is that a mellow yellow car?
Looks like it. It's hard to always tell because mellow yellow has such a different look now.
It is.
But there you go. You see it there on the hood. He's got a mellow yellow car on the track this week. Always has a really good-looking car. He seems to change it up every week, too, so we don't know if it's actually him in there or not until we get up close. But, yeah, he's got a really good-looking mellow yellow machine out there. But right now, one of those cars with the yellow banner is he's staying out there for a time being, and I'm sure that is frustrating, that 75 car, Brandon Key, because he needs that point.
Yes, he does, and so we're going to see what happens with that. But Scott Healy, side by side here with Scott Glaw, is like they've been for a while now, but now they're up in third and fourth.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see, the team leaders of RSR not make that decision. I think we're going to see Dean Brummett come down this time, which could bring the rest of the RSR cars. But right now, all Roell Smith Racing cars, oh, wow, he is really tight. He is not going to be able to get to pit road. I can't really decipher what he was saying. I got the radio turned down pretty low. But, yeah, he looked really tight right there as he just nipped the wall.
Yeah, and again, that's just something that happens every now and then, especially here at Kansas, where sliding is so easy to do. Oh, we're going to be 3 wide.
Oh, and this is nerve-wracking when you have old tires and you see those filthy 5 cars with fresh tires out there. And I have to imagine Max Service is on fresh tires as well. No, actually, he's not. He's on older tires. So we're going to see Dean Brumman come down right now.
And here he comes down into pit lane. And Scott Healy's going to join him. Scott Kalal, Brandon Key, James Holzer, all of them going to join him. And Max Service stays out on the track. He will assume the lead, and his teammate Seth Berger, about 5 seconds behind him, will assume second place.
Yeah, I have to imagine that, Brandon Key had to get, through his head that he has a very fast car out there on track, and he doesn't want to ruin his chances and lose too much time, so he had to come down right there, even though he really desperately needs that point. I expect to see that man, kind of cycle these tires out. It's going to take him a little while to catch up to the guys that pitted a little earlier, but that 75 machine will be back up towards the front. He is fast right now. Damien Linenger struggling to get on the pits there, it looked like. Oh, we got a caution. That's going to shake things up, Sean.
Oh, wow. That's Holzer.
Oh, man. Our, third place car in the standings. That is heavy, heavy damage for that machine, and that is going to be detrimental to his standings right now in the playoffs. He's trying to listen to what he's saying, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at this wreck replay presented by Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia. If you guys haven't checked them out before, you can find them on Shopify.
Coming out of the pits, and he just loops it coming out of the pits.
Ooh, this is such an easy thing to do.
Oh,
ooh, and then
Ted Reckich.
Man, our fourth place guy in the standings. This is third and fourth place in our standings. I have to imagine that took out Ted Reckich's engine. That was a big hit for the 91.
Yeah, you're just going to see, and this is easy to do. You get a little bit too much gas in there. Man, it didn't even sound like there was that much gas being put into it. I mean,
that was really weird.
That was a strange caution.
Almost looked like he might have downshifted on accident and it just kind of grabbed the tires and spun them, but not exactly sure what happened there. It just whipped it around right there. It hit a bump and just was gone.
I'm not sure what happened there.
At that moment, you're just trying to hit the brakes and stay out of everybody's way, but there's nothing he can do. And it's hard for Ted Reckich to really, move out of the way at that point.
Wow, that was just ultra strange. Not really sure how that happened here.
Oh, and he just typed in the chat, he hates this shifter, and I think that's what happened. He downshifted on accident.
Oh, wow.
Man, real unfortunate. And then, it's going to come down to next week or 2 weeks from now at the Monster Mile, which we said earlier, it's called the Monster Mile for a reason. So he is really going to have a good week in 2 weeks to get to that next round.
Well, with that, I believe I'm showing Max Service as being the leader. Now, he stayed out, and he had not pitted yet when all that went down. And so right now I'm showing Max Service as the leader and Gabriel Ellison as second.
Yeah, but I think that those guys were out there long enough on the fresh tires that they got their laps back, so they're going to come down here, and Max Service is going to probably have he's going to have that first place spot if he can get a good pit stop here.
Yep, everybody diving in, getting those fresh tires, some fuel.
Man, this is crazy. This is what's amazing about this playoff format. James Holzer dominates all season, gets that first win last week at Talladega, and then comes into this week and just has a really bad shift, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, now it looks like, Holzer's still out there now. He's still driving, so
yeah.
No hood on the car or anything like that. So we'll see how badly damaged his car. There's no way it's not damaged a ton.
Yeah, he was on his hood or his roof, and not having a hood on the car is definitely going to slow him down as well. But I have to imagine that ends Ted Reckich's night, and he is one of those drivers that we mentioned. He just has had terrible luck this season, and that has not ended, it seems.
Whew. Man, that was a nice long green flag run, followed by green flag pit stops, followed by a really, really strange caution. So Oh, man. And now I'm showing Brandon Key is our leader, and so he is going to get a much-needed bonus point as he is sitting 15th in the current playoff standings.
Trying to see, it's showing, he's only had 4 laps on his run of tires here, so I don't know if that's only 2 under green. He should be fine. I kind of made the mistake to come down with the pack on Thursday after about a 3 or 4 lap run, and the tires were still very much, 99% tread or grip. And so this is a good call for the 75 machine, who was already very fast. He's looking to keep that spot up there and maybe pull away. But Scott Healy, who I mentioned was very fast in practice, is also sitting up there on the front row now.
Man, and that just shook everything up. So Filthy 5 Motorsports had 4 of the top 5 drivers, and now they are sitting in 7th, 8th, 10th, and 17th. And so what a shakeup by an unfortunate caution.
Yeah, they took that first, they pitted first out of everybody, so they really had no choice but to come down pit road after those guys stayed out for about 10 laps after so they had to get the fresh tires. But right now, they might be in good shape. We'll see how it plays out for them. It could play into good strategy whether, this race does continue to go green. Maybe that helps them get that fuel run that they need to get to the end.
Yeah, I mean, man, what I'm still kind of speechless here as to how that happened. And the other thing that we saw there was Damien Linenger went underneath James Holter's car, and so he is still out there on the track in 12th position. But Brandon Key is going to get this restart, and he is going to take off. And Scott Healy is going to drop down and take that second position.
Yeah, Scott's got to be careful not to come down before that start-finish line, so I'm sure that's getting looked at right now, but we'll find out whether that's a black flag or not. But right now they single file 1 through 5. Saw a little bit racier earlier on in the race, but right now singling out quicker than earlier.
Well, maybe up front it's singling out, but here we're 2 by 2 and almost 3 wide going into the turn.
Well, right now we got a battle for the lead, Sean, as Scott Healy is on the inside of Brandon Key, and Brandon Key is going to have to really work that high line to keep out front, but 64 is going to try his hardest to clear the 75, maybe pull a slide job here.
I don't think he's going to have room to pull that slide job. I think that Brandon Key is going to get a great run here.
Start fighting up now.
Could be wrong. And there's Scott Healy taking the lead.
To the point, and Dean Brummett, you see him there in 4th. He's going to be attacking here on Scott Kalal for 3rd. He wants to get up front.
And one thing you saw in that picture there was James Holzer getting back on the track, and so he is just going to get as many laps as he possibly can out here, because if another wreck happens and drops some of these playoff cars down, he could potentially gain some much-needed points.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. Even though he's 2nd place right now, you gotta get as many points as you can. There's no guarantees in racing, especially when $1,000 is on the line. So he's got to get as many points and positions as he can get, and it's very likely that he could pick up a few. I have no doubt that we might see another caution, but we kind of teased it earlier. This thing could go green the whole time as they get spaced out. They were very spaced out before that caution.
Yeah, we were wondering a little bit earlier where Roell Smith Racing was, and now they are the top 2 cars. And now Jake Roell, our points leader, up into 15th position. So he was back in 22nd a little bit earlier. So starting to get a little bit good for Roell Smith Racing.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Jacob Smith, who we saw qualify 2nd, sitting in 13th right now, can get the ship righted and start heading up to the front. But right now he seems to be in some heavy traffic trying to pick up some spots. And also, Filthy 5 Motorsports is trying to work their way back up to the front. We're seeing them do so. They have a little bit of fresh tires and everybody out there on track.
Yeah, and Brandon Key, who was just in our lead all the way back in 6th place now.
Yeah, he's got to try his hardest to not fall back too far, but also just let the race happen and don't burn your stuff up too quick. And I'm sure that's what he is realizing right now. He's seeing the big picture. You're not going to win the race on lap 51. So, he knows a lot of these guys just pitted. He stayed out. He knows the scenario, and he is kind of just letting the race happen right in front of him. And he had a very fast car late in the run before that caution came out. So I have no doubt we will be seeing the 75 up front again soon.
And now we got Filthy 5 Motorsports here with Gabriel Ellison, and then right behind him, Landon Lacey. But Gabriel's trying to work on Scott Kalal right now for 3rd position.
Yeah, and Scott is another one of those drivers. He was at the bottom of the playoffs to start this series, or the playoffs championship, schedule. up to 8th right now, so he's really trying his hardest to really work his way up the ladder, and he's doing a great job of it, sitting in 3rd right now. But Gabriel Ellison is on his bumper, and he is going to probably try to pull off a slide job here. He doesn't want to waste too much time trying to run side by side with him.
Well, you see that Zaxby's chicken on the front of that car. You know that they're coming. And here comes Gabriel Ellison, and his teammate Landon Lacey is going to try to follow him.
Yeah, I just hear the Jaws music right now. And I know Dean Brummett sees them coming up, right behind them in his rearview mirror. He's going to he's not going to be able to clear that 23 car, but he's really going to have to send it into 3 and 4 and try his hardest to clear that 23 as fast as he can. Not going to be this time, as Scott got a good entry into 3.
Out there in the chat, Ted Reckitt's really disappointed in this race, obviously, and man, he is going to have a big hill to climb going into next week or next race at Dover.
Yeah, and I mean, Ted's one of those guys that can definitely get it done in 2 weeks at Dover. He's always running up towards the front, so really unfortunate to see. But like you said, he's got one of the better cars out there every week, so gonna have to put a little bit of extra time in on the practice. We got 2 weeks before we go to Dover, some time to do that, and I expect to see him contending and maybe making it into the next round. So, like you said, unfortunate to see, but that's racing, man.
And it does happen, and it's unfortunate that it happened in the playoffs, especially with this playoff structure where the first 3 races, and then we cut to the top 10.
Ooh, somebody's at the wall back there. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Trying to see who that is.
Looked like a black and yellow car a little further back from Austin Reedy. I can't really tell who it was. Might have been Mitch Frollo. Not too sure, but man, they really got the wall, knocking it down in kind of a 2, but we'll find out sooner or later, because I have to imagine.
There it is. Is that David Duke?
Yeah, David Duke. Yeah, I was going to say, we'll see somebody fall off from the pack, because that was a big hit.
Yeah, there's a big gap between him and in 20th place now, so that may have been him, and here comes the leader. So Scott Healy's put some distance.
Scott Cavall getting past Dean Brummett for 2nd, as Landon Lacey, they're all just this train going by Dean Brummett. Dean Brummett just fell from 2nd to 5th in the matter of like a straightaway.
Man, I mean, we're seeing that a lot. Brandon Key dove back, a few spots. He's going to be battling back there with Dean Brummett here shortly. So, and again, Dean got into the wall a little bit earlier, and maybe he got into the wall again, and maybe that was what was going on there. But now you've got 3 of the Filthy 5 up in the top 5 once again.
Like I said, they're coming. They were up there before that caution. There's no reason they can't get back up there. And Landon Lacey just looks fast today, man. He is coming. But Scott Healy up front, he also looks really fast. They saw him. He was fastest in practice. So I think he just had a bad qualifying lap, and he got kind of set to the mid-pack at 12th. But right now, he's moved up 11 spots, and he is at the point of the field. And right now, pulling away from Scott Kalal, 7/10 on him.
Yeah, Scott Healy already with 1 win this season. Landon Lacey back there in 3rd with 2 wins this season. And so everybody else in the top 5 has not won yet. And so we need to we may see a new winner tonight, or we may see a second-time winner.
Yeah, and they don't have a win yet on the season. The key word yet. There's no reason that those guys can't win these races. They are always running up to the front. Gabriel Ellison and Kyle Spees. Kyle Spees really turning it on in the second half. A lot of top 3s, and we talked to him a lot in the studio or after the race. So I expect him to get one of these wins before this season is up. He has got some momentum on his side.
Trying to find the best battle on the track right now. It looks like it's going to be Brandon Key and Kyle Spees here are going to be the closest 2 cars on the track. And you saw Brandon up in the lead, and then now he's back in the 6th place. But he was all the way back to about 8th or 9th, and then he's working his way back forward again. So not really sure what the yo-yo effect is here, but he's starting to work his way back.
Like I said, I really think Brandon Key is dialed in today. He has got the big picture on his mind. He got the point that he needed. He might not get the most laps led point that is out there as well. But he knows that he should not be pushing that car too hard, especially when he stays out there to get that lap led on maybe like 2 or 3 lap old tires. Yeah, I think he was just falling off a little bit to let those guys go as they were really racy early on that restart. And right now he is picking up these spots as he is trying to get past Kyle Spees. And if we go back a little bit, that is not the case for Dean Brummett, who is still under attack. Also, Reedy getting by him. Mitch Rollo is about to be picking him off. So Dean Brummett is falling fast.
Yeah, remember, Dean Brummett was in second place right behind his teammate Scott Healy about 10 laps ago. And now all of a sudden he is fighting for his life in 8th right now. And so now he's going to fall back to 9th. So this is not Dean Brummett like we're used to seeing.
No, and we're coming up to the halfway mark of this race. So you don't want to lose too many spots. But, man, there is not much he can do right now. He is trying his hardest. But he is going to be under attack from Jordan Bain, the leader of the Tier 2 playoffs. And he's going to possibly fall out of the top 10 before we know it. And with Dean sitting in 9th, just above that cut line, I'm sure he is biting his nails and begging for a caution at this point. He wants some fresh tires and maybe some adjustments on that car.
Well, it looks like Brandon Key is finally going to make that pass on Kyle Spees, which will put him back up into the top 5 once again. And again, these long runs were really beneficial to Brandon. Did really well towards the end of that first run and right before we hit that caution. So maybe the longer this run goes, the more of a shot he has.
Yeah, he has a fantastic long run car. It just looks smooth out there, and I really think he's going to pick off my pick of the 27 machine, Gabriel Ellison, in a couple of laps. He just knows what he's doing right now. He's sticking that car on the bottom line, and it's still fast. A lot of these cars are not doing that. They are running that middle to high line on the seams, and he is just trying to paint that line, and it's working for him, and kind of probably saving the tires a little bit at the same time.
Well, man, I got to apologize to James Holter. I put that broadcaster's curse on him, and so my pick is out of this race at this point.
See, Sean, you're just messing up again.
No, I mean, I'm just going to stop picking people.
We bring you back into the booth, and you just start cursing people again. But right now, there's another battle right here on your screen as teammates Landon Lacey and Gabriel Ellison are going to be battling here for 3rd.
Yeah, always a little bit disconcerting when you're racing against a teammate, but Landon doesn't want to hold up Gabriel, but he also doesn't want to lose the spot. So, a little bit of back and forth probably in their chat trying to figure out, okay, when am I going to pass you, or will you even let me?
Yeah, it's a tough discussion to have because Landon isn't racing for the $1,000, but he's racing for this money that's paid out each week. And $55 is a nice chunk of change when it's hard to go back and forth. But Gabriel Ellison seems to have the faster car right now as he is making a move on the inside. Might see a slide job here. Oh, he just lets him have it, it looks like. But, yeah. Yeah, I think he knew that the 27 was the faster car right now. Maybe saved his stuff a little bit. And he sees that 75 as well. So he didn't want to hold him up too much and maybe put him under pressure from Brandon Key. But Landon Lacey's going to have a mirror full of that 75 car.
Yeah, Brandon Key really making that bottom line work a lot better than most people do. And it's probably because he saves those tires until the end of the run that he can do that.
Yeah, I mean, you see these guys, they have put a pretty big gap between them and Austin Reedy back there in 7th. So, that just goes to show that maybe these guys saved it a little bit more than, the mid-pack cars who are trying to gain as many positions as they can. One of those cars that we've seen maybe not saving their stuff as much, Dean Brummett, is back to 11th now. So, like I said, he has fallen out of the top 10.
One person that hopes that broadcaster's curse is not a real thing is out there in the chat right now, Robert Yost. He hopes that broadcaster's curse doesn't work out because this broadcaster actually picked him in the All-Star draft. And so if the broadcaster's curse is real, then he's in a lot of trouble in this All-Star race.
Oh, boy. We'll find out one way or another because might as well go ahead and tease it now. We just had our draft yesterday, like you said. And coming up Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have the qualifier races for that All-Star race. You're going to catch it at 4 p.m. Central Time. That'll be the first one. The second one will be at 8 p.m. Central. That'll set the field for the All-Star race on Sunday, which will be held at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, Sean.
Yeah, unfortunately, the first 2 qualifiers are not going to be broadcast because basically the broadcast team is going to be in the race. And so there's nobody to broadcast it. And so, but we will definitely be broadcasting the All-Star race regardless of how many of our broadcasters are in there. If I have to broadcast that thing all by myself, I'll do it. But Greg, I expect to see you in the All-Star race itself, man.
Yeah, I got picked by Mr. Tripp, your favorite guy in the field. So we'll be seeing how the Moo and Brew ARCA car does out there in Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but it's very exciting, man. We don't run those ARCA cars very much, so it's going to put an even playing field out there for these guys, and we're going to get to see who is the best talent in SRN. Very exciting stuff.
Got to tell you, I ran my first practice laps in the ARCA car last night, and Jason Tripp and company, they better watch out because, man, this guy can hit walls with the best of them.
I was going to say, how many walls did you knock down, Sean?
Every one. I don't think that Indianapolis Motor Speedway is still standing after what I did to it.
You got to lift, man. You got to lift. I know it's enticing, but, those cars are going fast going into those corners. It's going to be a fun race.
Couple of teammates back here in 16th and 17th, Jake Roell and Shane Good, just trying to make their way around the track, just waiting for their opportunity to shine a little bit. But, man, they've just – I don't know what's going on with Jake Roell and Shane Good here because usually they're a lot further up than this.
Yeah, Jake started towards the back, and, the long green flag runs are not helping him. First pit stop here, though, Mitch Rollo hopefully got that slowed up enough. You saw the front tire there locked up, trying to get it woed up, but he's going to be our first taker as Dave Fuji comes down behind him in that really cool-looking mellow yellow 14 machine. So we're going to see if this brings the rest of the field. We saw a little bit of different strategies play out last time, and then some people got bit by that caution, which could leave a sour taste in their mouths.
Yeah, it's been about 30 laps now since their last pit. So that might have been a little bit of an early pit for Mitch Rollo and Dave Fuge, and maybe that's Mitch Rollo just trying to throw a strategy call out there, trying to get a little bit more track time on fresh tires. But we'll see when the rest of these guys come down. But I would anticipate they've got another 5 laps or so.
If it stays green, it could be a good call. It's going to give him a lot of faster lap times right now. But it's also going to set him a lap down right now. So that's the bad side of doing it so early. A lot of time for a caution to come out if it's possible to come out. And we saw it happen as James Holzer was exiting the pits. He had a little bit of a downshift problem there, and it spun him out right in front of his teammate Ted Rekich, and that brought out our first caution. But we've seen really good racing on track, and these guys have been racing really clean besides that caution.
Well, it looks like we got Brandon Key going down to the low side, trying to make the pass here on Landon Lacey. Landon's not going to let it happen so easily. Out there in the chat right now, Justin D-Reich saying, well, so much for Timothy Latham going for a win. Oh, well, Timothy Latham stuck back here in 12th position right now, but don't count him out just yet. It's not over.
No. Yeah. I'm definitely not counting him out. And, we just talked about him earlier, too. Jake Roell, I'm not even counting him out sitting back there in 17th. Running with his teammate Shane Good in 16th. So, yeah, we still got a lot of time left in this race, even though it is flying by with these long green runs. But right now, Timothy Latham might have some serious competition with this 75 car, as we've seen these two cars that are battling right now, the 7 and the 75. They seem to be the real fast cars out there on the track in the long runs. So this is a critical position to pick up.
Yeah, we've only had those pit stops from Mitch Rollo and Dave Fuge, and Danny Setzer joined them. But since then, nobody else has pitted just yet. So that just means that Mitch Rollo, the only playoff driver in those 3 that did pit, is going to get some good, fast laps here. And so you can see him. He's going to start picking people off left and right. He just drove right by the 81 of Max Service like he was standing still. Yeah,
to give you a little perspective, Mitch Rollo on that last lap on fresh tires just ran a 30.14. Our leader, Scott Healy, just ran a 31.78. So that's a 1.5 second difference, a little more even, that he is picking up on these leaders. So, like I said, if it's a long green run, it could play out in his favor. Maybe if he gets a caution after everybody pits, he's going to pick up some positions, and some track position is key here. Like you said, passing cars is very hard to do here at Kansas.
Yeah, we're going to see how that plays out for him as he is just still making his way all the way through this track, just passing Seth Berger like it was nothing. Next up is David Duke, who's 6 seconds ahead of him, but it looks like he's about to pick off a driver that's a lap ahead of him. That's Chris Massey in front of him in the 83.
Yeah, the problem, though, is it doesn't seem like he's anywhere close to our leader out there on the track, so he's gonna have to wait for them to pit and get his lap back that way. Sometimes we see these drivers able to just drive by the leader and get the lap back themselves, but he is too far back for that right now, as he is passing 10th place machine of Dean Brummett right now.
let's check in on our leader because we've been back here in the back pretty much the entire time because Scott Healy's just started pulling away. He's about a second ahead of second place Scott Kalal.
Yeah, what a day for Scott's, man. Seeing Scott Kalal run up there in second after having a second place finish at Talladega. Man, this dude's peaking at the right time.
Yes, he is, and man, he really could use a great finish here tonight, just like all these playoff drivers could. But Scott is up in fifth in the standings right now, but he only has, let's see, he only has an 8-point lead on the cut line. So,
yeah,
man, should be very helpful to him if he does pull off the win here. And I'm getting word from the admin that pits should be coming within the next couple of laps.
Yeah, and there's no guarantees next week or 2 weeks from now going into Dover. Seeing Dean Brummett come over comms, we could be seeing him be the first car to come down pit road after Mitch Rollo did earlier, which is a little bit different than the strategy. They stayed out longer than anybody, RSR did, and there he is coming down pit road. He did not like that car on that run, and you could tell he was just falling like a rock.
Yep, Shane Good is going to follow him there. And Jake Roell did not follow him. So Jake Roell staying out there for another couple laps, trying to pick up just a couple of extra tenths of a second out there.
Yeah, we usually see RSR do the same strategy, and that says a lot about the handling of that 25 car. He did not like it, so they did not go through the same strategies. You see Scott Healy out there, Jake Roell still out there, and I believe Jacob Smith is still out there as well. So we're seeing more cars come down pit road, I believe. I didn't really see who that was, but I just heard someone else is pitting here this lap.
Yeah, only Dean Brummett and Shane Good came down that time around. Let's see who comes down this time as Scott Healy.
28 might have been Jordan Bain.
Yeah, Jordan Bain is up in 8th right now. Let's see if here comes Scott Healy.
Yeah, so he only stayed out a couple laps more than Dean Brummett. But like I said, these guys usually pit together like we saw Filthy 5 do. Yep, and it was the 28 of Jordan Bain. Said he was coming down as well, having a great race so far. So I have to imagine that we're going to see pit road get a little busy right now.
Yeah, kind of interesting that the leader of the race is one of the first ones to pit on this cycle because that's going to give him a huge advantage when he gets back out there on the track. And
yep. Scott Wall's going to come down right now.
I'm not sure that the rest of this pack is going to like the fact that he's getting more of an advantage than he already had.
Yep, and we see Brandon Key not stay out as long as he did last time as he was trying to get that extra point. But he has a great long run car. You know, he was really starting to pick off some of these guys, and I know I know a lot of these cars like fresh tires, but I know he's probably a little bitter right now as he has to come down and get 4 fresh ones, and everyone's going to have fresh tires. But, you know, with, 44 laps to go, they're going to be right on. They're going to have to take another pit stop here. Maybe you might get a splash and go for the end.
Yeah, I don't think they can make it on 44 laps. So this pit strategy, well, I don't know. They're looking at 43 right now. So
yeah, we'll see how long these guys stay out. Gabriel Ellison wouldn't be hard-pressed to just see how long he can stay out. If you can make it as long as you can, then get enough fuel to make it to the end, that's a win for the 27 machine if it stays green.
Yeah, this I think they might be right there on that limit.
He's going to come down this time, I think. Yep. Somebody has to be thinking that. And one of those guys who is a genius when it comes to fuel strategy is that 9 car. So I really want to see what he is doing out there. Maybe he could stretch it long enough. He is very smart when it comes to shutting off the car on pace laps and saving as much fuel as he can, clutching it in the turns. So if there's anybody out there that's going to be doing the fuel strategy card, it's going to be that 9 machine of Jake Roell, who is finding himself running in the 17th position.
Yep, Damien Linenger getting to lead a lap here, so he's going to get a much-needed bonus point. He's 15 points outside the cut.
Ooh, he's going to get that woed up.
And I think he will. So he's going to get down into the pits, get some fresh tires, some fuel, and get going there. So now Timothy Latham Timothy's going to come into the pits as well. Woo-hoo. Let's see what Jacob Smith and Jake Roell decide to do. Jacob Smith stays out.
Yep. I think these are going to be the guys to do it. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be someone from RSR pulling that strategy.
Yeah, they're going to get as much out of this as they possibly can get. They're the only 2 that have not pitted. So Jacob Smith and Jake Roell. Now, Mitch Rollo, who pitted really early on lap 73, he is sitting in 3rd right now. He's still 10 seconds back from the lead. But the problem is that he does not have the fuel to make it the distance.
Yeah, and the next closest car behind him seems to be...
Jacob Smith. That's going to be a black flag.
Wow, yeah, he's had a hard time. He's tried to get everything he could. That's going to put them right on on the fence of making it to the end with 40 to go. So it's going to be really exciting to see what happens here as we near the end of this race. But like I said, pitting that early seemed to benefit Mitch Rollo as he's in first place right now. And next closest car behind him seems to be Scott Kalal, and he's got some distance behind him.
Yeah, they've got about 7 seconds to the leader, but they are catching him very quickly. So about a 12-lap difference on the tires here between second place and first place.
Man, and then I'm not even. It's not even because he's my teammate. It's just because of the season that he's had so far. I am super excited for Brandon Key right now because he has a great car out there on the track. If he can clear this 23 machine and claim that second place position, like you said, they're going to run down the 96 car, Mitch Rollo, in maybe a couple laps, 10 laps, 15 laps. It's going to happen. So this is the battle for the lead per se, unless a caution comes out. So great to see him running. He is the 15th. He's last in our playoff standings. This is what you want to see in a playoff championship standings race.
Actually, Brandon Key just laid down the best lap of the night just a few laps ago. You can see that purple number, that 29.742. That was the best lap of the night, and they are gaining about 1.3 seconds per lap on our leader. That lead is down to under 5 seconds, so give them 3 more laps and they'll be there.
You just saw it right there. Brandon is just running a really smart race. He was running that middle lane, trying to get past Scott, really pushing the car, I feel like, and he just took it upon himself. He knows the long run car that he has. He just took it upon himself to let Scott have the position and run behind him for a little bit. Scott's going to eventually maybe burn his stuff off a little bit more than Brandon. Who knows? But Brandon's running a really smart strategic race right now. He needs every point he can get, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, Jacob Smith had to come in and stop and take a penalty, and so that's going to drop him a lap, actually about 2.5 laps down, 3 laps down, actually. So Jacob Smith, essentially with that penalty, that's pretty much the end of his race.
Yeah, and, he is the first car outside the cut line. Oh, man, he is going to have a really good race at Dover. But, like I said, Dover really resembles Bristol, and that is the track that he won at. He won the race at Bristol. So who knows what could happen in 2 weeks, but he's really going to have to pull it out. Wow. Seeing Mitch Rollo come down again for his last pit stop potentially. He's only got 20 laps on this set of tires, so curious to see what he does here.
Yeah, but he knew that he couldn't make it the rest of the way, so you might as well get the pit out of the way now. And that way, if there is a yellow flag, then you just stay out.
Oh, see, I disagree completely, man. I would have held that track position as long as I could until those leaders caught up to me and then pitted. But who knows, man? He knows more than I do out there with those cars. So we'll see how it works out for Mitch after leading a decent amount of laps right there.
I mean, I didn't say it was the right strategy. I'm just saying that it was a strategy.
All right, well, Scott Kalal is going to be at the point right now after finishing and pushing his teammate to the win last week, finishing second. He's in first with a hungry Brandon Key just behind him.
Yeah, he is only a few points off the cut line. It looks like he is 7 points above the cut line coming into this race. So a win would definitely propel him forward. And man, with James Holzer already being out of the race, Ted Rekich already being out of the race, then it could propel him all the way up to 3rd or 4th in the standings.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Landon Lacey, who we saw battling really hard with Brandon Key. I said it before, they had the best long-run cars on the track. He's back there mired in 6th place right now. One of those guys, though, a surprise name to see. We haven't seen him running up in the top 5. Austin Reedy sitting in 4th place. But you see it on the screen, Scott Healy's going to be on pit road. Yeah,
Scott Healy probably coming down for a splash maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's
some
going on there.
Wild strategies happening right now. I wish we could get a crew chief in the booth to really understand what's happening, because we sound like morons. We don't know what's going on right now.
Just kind of some curious moves there, but it looks like he took a full pit stop, so 4 tires and fuel. So he's going to get back out there on the track here with 32 laps to go, and he's going to have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, curious to see if our leaders right now, Brandon Key and Scott Kalal, can hold that gap that they have between themselves and Gabriel Ellison sitting in 3rd. Gabriel's only got 2 lap fresher tires, so I'm curious to know how much that's helping him. Right now, in the long run, it's not going to help him as much, but it's got to be helping him a little bit as he seems to be 3/10 faster than Brandon Key. But Scott Kalal running about the same time as Gabriel Ellison.
So I just got word from the admin, Jason Tripp, that Scott Healy was pitting that time around because he forgot to click the tire button the last pit stop. So he was on super old tires. And so he came on down, but Dean Brummett came down too. So
and David Duke is coming down right now as well. So it's not a bad mess up on Scott Healy's part. It seems like it's triggering everybody else to come down and get that last pit stop of the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's just some interesting mistakes happening here from Roell Smith Racing. Jacob Smith speeding on pit road or an unsafe pit entry, and then Scott Healy with the mistake there with the tires, and then Dean Brummett coming down and pitting when he did, and it's Shane Good also into the pits. And so, man, all these guys, I think they're setting up for the rest of this race and hoping that there's a green-white checker so that they have maybe the strategy to win it.
Well, it's really interesting, Sean, because this is the time you want to do it. It's a guarantee that everybody is going to have to pit before we see the checkered flag. So if you're further back in the pack, why not do it now and get that extra second a lap that we see them have on fresh tires when a lot of these guys might come down with 10 or 5 laps to go. There's not going to be a lot of time for them to catch up to those guys that have that gap that they built. So we're seeing a lot of interesting strategies play out right now. It could be a race-winning strategy for all we know. We'll have to keep our eyes on it.
Definitely, and you can see Mitch Rollo. Remember, he came in a little bit earlier on lap 94, and we were kind of questioning the timing of that pit stop, and now he's up in 14th, and he is not too terribly far away from getting his lap back.
Yeah, he was out front. We saw him pull that strategy, and it worked out. It got him to the point, and he made the call to come down after 20 laps on those tires to get 4 new fresh ones in fuel. Now, if we see a caution come out, it's not going to be a good strategy. But if this thing stays green like we expect it to, with all these cars spread out as they are, Mitch Rollo could be seeing himself in victory lane.
Out there in the chat, we got James Holzer in there. Said that the shifter registered as third gear, that third gear as first gear for him in that first caution. So just kind of a mechanical malfunction, and those things happen here in iRacing. And just a tough break for him tonight.
Making me sound smart, because that's the only thing that made sense. The way that car turned around so fast, it just looked like he downshifted. And that was the case, unfortunately, and that'll just whip that car right around and you just lose all control. Just really unfortunate, as his teammate had nowhere to go on track, and I have a feeling that blew up the engine of the 91 machine. So those two drivers are really going to have to get out there next week, but we have more pit stops coming underway. Timothy Latham is going to be the next guy to pit with Dave Fuji here. I just heard Timothy Latham come over the comms. He's going to have to get down low. He's battling with somebody out there. Can't really tell who that is.
On his inside, that's Danny Setzer there on the inside. So
he's going to have to let Danny get by him. Or get in front of him.
Yeah, Danny's going to let him by. It looks like Danny's a few laps down. So
careful here.
No, he's going to go ahead and take it all the way around.
I thought I heard him say pitting over the radio, so maybe it might be another. Yeah.
Scott
Seems
Kalal,
like he set himself up to do it.
Well, Scott Kalal has an 0.8 of a second lead over second place Brandon Key, but Brandon's kind of been, whittling that away a little bit here and there. So we'll have to see again. Brandon Key is definitely a long run driver. Yep. We're going to see if that plays out for him, and if these guys. The longer this thing goes, the more I have to think that they have to stay out the rest of the way and stretch this field.
Yeah, and Brandon Key was faster than Scott Kalal that lap. Not by much, half a tenth. But right now it looks like the lap times have evened themselves out, even though third place Gabriel Ellison has about 2 lap fresher tires. All these times are evening out, and it's looking like a good strategy. And this is about that time that 75 car comes to life. Hopefully he didn't burn his stuff up when we saw these two battling on fresh tires right out the pits. So we could be seeing that 75 get on the move here shortly. Another lap where he was faster than him right there.
Just kind of looking back through the pack. So Austin Reedy trying to get side by side with Kyle Spees here. This is a battle for 4th place. and Kyle Spees is going to keep that position. So Kyle, man, really great run for him tonight. He's doing a great job there. But Austin Reedy up 11 positions from where he started. So he started back in 16th position. So just a nice, clean, cool race for him. But our hard charger right now is actually not even in the playoffs. He's in the second-tier playoffs, brought to you by Flavor Bomb Seasonings. Go to fbbbq.com, get your Flavor Bomb seasonings there. But Jordan Bain up there in 8th position. He started off all the way back in 24th.
Yeah, this is my buddy, man. I got him into the league, and I knew he has the talent to do it, and we're seeing it unfold right before our eyes as he's picking up another spot off of his teammate Damien Linenger right now for Rev Racing. A little bit of a slide job there is what you got to do. Hopefully he kind of warned him that he was going to be doing that, but a good pass nonetheless, and Jordan is on his way up. We could be seeing him finish in the top 5 here.
You got to remember, Damien's car actually ran into James Holzer's car when in that only caution of the race, and kind of flipped him a little bit more. I'm surprised it didn't do any damage to Damien's car there. So he's running it really, really well up in there in 8th place. But up front, we got Landon Lacey. They're getting side by side here. It looks like Kyle Spees and Landon Lacey are going to be fighting here for a position, but Austin Reedy wants to be a part of it.
We're going to have a battle for the lead here, Sean, as you know. Brandon Key and Scott Kalal are separated by about 2 or 3 cars. Brandon is chipping away. He was 0.3 faster than Scott Kalal. Not sure if he had trouble with a lap car, but we're seeing that 75 run that bottom line like we saw earlier. He is just fast down there.
Yep, and Brandon Key, man, this has been a long time coming this season. He definitely wants this race so that he can say that he's back up on top again.
Oh, and he's always had the talent to do it. And, you know, those drivers that know that are the ones that are hardest on themselves. We heard Dean Brummett, who wanted to get that first win on the season so bad, and he finally did it at Richmond. This is another one of those drivers who's really hard on himself, and he is making the pass for the lead, and he's going to slide up in front of Scott, and he's just going to pull away here because he is the fastest car of the 2 right now. He has an awesome long run car, so this race couldn't have played out any better for him.
Yeah, now Mitch Rollo right there behind, he is not on the lead lap. So he is fighting to get his lap back here. So just in case there is a caution, he can come all the way back around. But, I mean, right now sitting in the lucky dog position, so not a bad deal for Mitch Rollo where he's at right now. But he'd like to get that lap back the hard way.
Yeah, but just think about that. He doesn't have to pit again. These guys in front of him do. So unless a caution comes out, I have a feeling that Mitch Rollo is going to be our winner today.
Well, I'm not sure because, 45 laps is what we're talking here. And that last run, a lot of these cars made it 43. So if they can save a little bit of fuel, this might be a fuel run. We're going to see what happens here. This is going to be really, really close.
Yeah, this is exciting, man. This is one of the more exciting races that we've had recently. Obviously, Talladega, the restrictor plate races are always exciting. But right now, you usually get one guy that dominates these mile-and-a-half ovals. And that's not the case today. We have a lot of contenders with their names in the hat, and we're seeing it right now as Brandon Key, who has been working so hard after qualifying 7th. He moved up all the way to 1st and did it diligently. He's run a beautiful race. He has a car that can run any line on the track, and he's proven it out there right now that he deserves to be in these playoffs, and he deserves to be in the second round. So he's got to put it on the paper and bring that win home and get every point that he can get going into Dover next week. Because like I've been saying, no guarantees going into Dover in 2 weeks.
Man, we talked a little bit earlier on the broadcast about how there have been only 2 races all season where Jake Roell and Roell Smith Racing has not had a top 5 driver. And right now, their best driver is Jake Roell on the track, and he is sitting in 12th. And so the first 2 races of the playoffs, when you need it the most, man, this could be a disaster for Roell Smith Racing, having nobody in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, and I have to imagine the one that is sweating the most is Jacob Smith, who is in, I believe, 22nd place after that black flag on pit road. He was 11th coming in. The first spot on the cut line going into Dover, that's only going to hurt his case even more. Not sure the gap that he had to 10th, but it couldn't have been much, but that is going to be much bigger when they enter Dover in 2 weeks.
Well, you predicted it, and it is happening right now. Brandon Key is walking away right now, so he is up by over second place Gabriel Ellison. Gabriel actually made the pass on Scott Kalal, so doing everything he can to track down Brandon Key right now. Scott Kalal is going to start falling back a little bit. I think he may have burned up his tires a little bit.
Yeah, Scott has he's 0.3 off of Brandon's pace, so he's definitely losing a lot each lap. If he has to pit to go to make it to the end, I would do it sooner rather than later, get that extra time. But, you know, there's always an opportunity or possibility of a caution coming out, so that track position is more important at the moment. So we're going to see him stick it out. Not too much competition behind him, as Landon Lacey seems to be about 6 seconds, so a big gap from third to fourth. But, yeah, he is falling back from our leaders, but Gabriel Ellison is tracking Brandon Key down, so might not have a broadcaster's curse on my end.
Well, and Gabriel Ellison pitted 2 laps later than Brandon Key and Scott Kalal. And so if Brandon Key and Scott Kalal run out of fuel, Gabriel Ellison potentially has enough fuel in that car to make it all the way back around.
I just have to believe that Mitch Rollo is the one that's sitting pretty right now. I don't know if these guys can make it to the end, but I that's why I'm up here in the booth on Sundays. So we're going to have to see how it plays out as Brandon Key is coming to the stripe to take 10 laps to go here.
Well, if Mitch Rollo's sitting in the driver's seat there, or in the, you know, if he's the one in the pretty position, then I would have to say that Jake Roell, who's in front of him right now by about 1.5 seconds, is not sitting too badly either. He pitted 5 laps before Mitch Rollo, but he also pitted 4 laps after our leader here. So he might have pitted on the lap he needed in order to go the rest of the distance.
Yeah, he pitted with about 40 to go. We saw them come down a little bit. It's different because Dean Brummett, I feel like he just wasn't liking his car, so he had to come down maybe 2 or 3 laps before. So not sure what any strategy is going to play out. I guess that's the exciting part of racing, but we're 9 laps to go, and Brandon Key is the man in front right now.
Yeah, and this is where if I'm Brandon Key and if I'm worried about the fuel, this is where I'm kind of backing it down just a little bit. And, you know, if Gabriel gets right next to you, then you can pump it back up again. But man, it's going to be really, really close.
Yeah, Gabriel was 0.2 faster than Brandon that lap, so he's definitely coming with a full head of steam. You know, he was about 3 seconds back and about 20 laps ago, so Gabriel's definitely picking up some time, definitely not saving. But Brandon is the hungriest one out there on the track. You know, neither of these drivers have won this season, but Brandon just, you know, really hard on himself all year. A lot of opportunities that were missed, and he wants to bring it home more than anything. So I have to imagine he's not going to make it easy on Gabriel by any means.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the tale of 2 seasons right here. So you've got Brandon Key, who has had every bit of bad luck you could possibly have on the track this entire season, but yet still made it into the playoffs, and right now sitting in 15th. He is 16 points away from the cut line coming into this week. And then you have Gabriel Ellison, who has raced in 12 races this season prior to this week and has 12 top 10s. And so, but no wins either. So, man, both of these guys really, really want that first win badly. But if I had to say it, I think that Brandon Key needs this win more.
Yeah, and I think Brandon might be saving his stuff a little bit. He was faster that last lap, and we'll see what it is this time by that time Gabriel was faster by about 1/10 of a second, so maybe 2/10. Yeah, 2/10. So it keeps flip-flopping. Maybe he's kind of minding the gap, but that gap is going to be gone here in a second because Gabriel has a big run off of 2. He's only about 0.2 of a second behind him and just eating up that draft, which could be helping his fuel run. So we're going to have to see how it plays out. Brandon is going to come to the stripe this time by with 5 laps to go. I have to imagine the nerves are very high in that 75 machine, but he's been here before.
Man, I wish we could get a telemetry and know exactly how many laps of fuel he has left. But you know, that would kill the drama, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we need the drama, Sean, so don't ruin it this time, please.
Yeah, I already ruined it earlier with James Holzer, so we'll try not to ruin it this time around. But Kyle Spees still racing with his teammate Landon Lacey back here, so they are in 4th and 5th. But overall, and Gabriel, no, Brandon Key, he's going to have to come down and get some fuel.
Yep, he's going to have to be a splash and go, make it quick. No errors on pit road. Don't slide through your pit box. it shouldn't hurt him too much if everybody else has to come down and pit, but that's the thing. We don't know how close these guys are, but we're 4 laps to go, and Gabriel has nobody around him. If he has to save, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, and I almost thought that I heard his engine almost shut off during that turn. I think I didn't hear an engine going into that turn.
He ran a 32.0 last time with Brandon out on track. This time by, he's going to run a 32.6, so he is definitely saving and babying it. And Scott Kalal is doing the same thing. He ran a 33 flat last time, so they are definitely backing it off. They have a lot of gap in between them to the other guys.
Well, man, now we've got Timothy Latham moving up into 6th position as Scott Kalal pits. So now we've got Filthy 5 Motorsports in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 6th.
Yeah, just like we saw them at the beginning of this race, they were the ones out front, and it's kind of cycled itself out that way as we take 2 laps to go here. This time by, his time is going to be a 33.5. He's backed it off a whole 1.5 seconds. So Gabriel is in serious save mode, and we're going to have to see if he can make it to the end.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's okay here. I really do, but you can see and you can
not
hear.
even full throttle.
Yeah, he's not even. Oh, and he is shutting it down. Yep. In the middle of the corner.
He's clutching it through the turns. He's got the gap to do it. He's got 5 seconds between him and his teammate Kyle Spees. With 1 lap to go, I think he's going to pull it off.
Wow, what a great race. Love when we come down to fuel strategy here. And so Gabriel Ellison going to come around this last time around. The gap between him and his teammate Kyle Spees is rapidly decreasing, so it's down to 4 seconds. But I think he may be able to get around this turn 3 and 4 and finish this puppy off.
Look how much slower he is. Man, unfortunate for Brandon Key there, but yeah, Gabriel Ellison's going to do it and get his first win of the series of the season here with the McBuschy Lite 200.
Yep, Kyle Spees will take 2nd. Damien Linenger will bring it home in 3rd. Austin Reedy in 4th. Landon Lacey looks like he's out of fuel.
Yep. Oh. Wow.
But, yeah.
Almost hit his teammate there, Latham.
So Latham actually takes 5th. Landon Lacey takes 6th. And then promptly goes off the track. so he was out of fuel. So, wow, what an incredible finish there.
That was very impressive by this 27 machine. He earned his first win in SRN, man. That is going to go down in the books as a great race, Sean.
Man,
I don't even know if he has enough to do a celebration here. We'll find out.
I was about to say, I'm not sure he does. And we're going to get something.
Well, he's out there with his teammate there that finished 2nd. Nice little run today for Filthy 5, and with 6 races left in this, 5 now after Kansas, he's already out of fuel, so he didn't have much left. That is going to be what the race that Filthy 5 needed to get themselves back in the team championship standings. As you know, RSR didn't have the best race. They did get somebody in the top 10 with Jake Roell finishing in 7th, but then the next one down is going to be Scott Healy in 12th.
Man, what an incredible race. Man, my heart is still beating fast. So Gabriel Ellison brings it home for Filthy 5 Motorsports. Kyle Spees brings it into 2nd for Filthy 5 as well. Damien Linenger gets the pass at the end to take 3rd for Rev Racing. Austin Reedy in 4th for Bronco Motorsports. Timothy Latham passes Landon Lacey right there at the end as Landon was out of fuel to take 5th place, get his top 5 finish for Filthy 5 Motorsports.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Landon Lacey, one of the faster cars on the long run there, finishing 6th today after he ran out of fuel. Jake Roell, after running in the back most of this race, finishing 7th. Max Service, another one of those guys we saw join the season late, who's run really well with these guys, going to bring home an 8th place finish. The man with the plan that I thought was the plan was Mitch Rollo, who's going to come home in 9th. Still a nice day on his part. And unfortunately for Brandon Key, I thought it was his day, but he's going to come home in 10th in that Rev Racing machine.
Oh, still, he's going to get some much-needed points for that as well, though. So Chris Massey in 11th for Bronco Motorsports. Scott Healy from Roell Smith Racing in 12th. His teammate, Dean Brummett, in 13th place. Scott Kalal in 14th place after having to pit really, really late there. Dave Hughes Jr., an independent driver in that mellow yellow car, coming in 15th.
Yeah, I'm assuming Jordan Bain had to take a trip down pit road after he was our hard charger for that part of the race. Coming home in 16th. 17th going to be Shane Good. 18th going to be Seth Berger. 19th, Joshua Balliot. And 20th place is David Duke in the 78 Flavor Bomb machine.
All right, well, let's see if we can get some interviews going here. Let's see if we can go down there and get Damien Linenger. Let me grab him from his chat room here and see if we can talk to him. Hey, Damien, this is Sean and Greg up in the booth, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, good. How are you guys?
Doing good, man. We've talked about it last night at the draft. We talked about it tonight that you are a big game player, and there is no bigger game than what you needed here tonight, and it looks like you pulled something off.
Man, I messed up on qualifying too. I only got one qualifying lap in. I waited a little too long and set me back. Started back in 17th, and I had my one of my buddies from my other league, Hank, had him spotting for me today, and he called a fantastic race. I mean, if we had one more lap, I had 1.2 of fuel left, and everybody else was going to be running out, so we were that close.
Well, nonetheless, third place is what you needed after your 14th coming into this week. How do you feel going into Dover about your chances of advancing to the second round, Damien?
I like Dover. Dover's a really cool track. It definitely, now that they put the 750 horsepower and the small blade on it, it's going to be a handful, but high-speed track like that, it's going to be a nightmare for people trying to come off the corners and keep a handle of it. So it's kind of how I like the car slipping and sliding around a little bit.
Oh, man, we were on the edge of our seats the entire last 10, 15 laps of that race. But is there anybody that you would like to thank before we get you back down there into your chat?
Yeah, I got to thank my buddy Ryan Lutz for just encouraging me the entire time. Hank for calling a great race. I mean, I probably would have blown the entire pit strategy if it wasn't for my buddy Hank on the box, keeping me calm and telling me like, hey, you're good, save a little bit, and pushing me that last run to hit a lap extra on outside of everybody else, or I wouldn't have been anywhere near where I was. So thank you guys for putting this on and a trip for the league. It's been a fun league. We've had our struggles, but hey, we're playoff racing.
Man, it sounds great. Congratulations on a third place finish tonight. We will see you at the All-Star Qualifier, possibly the All-Star race itself, and then in 2 weeks at Dover.
I don't think you guys will see me in the All-Star
Oh, that's
race,
right. I heard about that. I apologize for that. I did hear about that. But we will see you in 2 weeks at Dover, though. So,
yes,
Jeez.
I know. Broadcasters curse everywhere here.
Hey, sometimes real life racing gets in the way of sim racing.
That's
so.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
We do not blame you one bit.
All right.
All right, buddy. Have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
Jeez,
I'm telling you, man, the broadcaster's curse is real. I just, I say somebody's name and they're out of the race immediately. It's just kind of the way it happens. So that is probably why I never said Kyle Spees' name the entire race. Is I didn't want to put any curse on him. But let's bring him up into the booth. Kyle Spees, this is Sean and Greg up in the booth, man. How's it going?
It's going good, thank you.
Good. Great race for you out there. Best finish of the season for you, finishing up in second place. I know you'd had some third place finishes along the way, but man, tell us what you saw out there tonight.
First and foremost, shout out to Ellison for getting his first win. That's my teammate, so I want to make sure I get a shout out there. It was great for him to get it. We were all making sure he tried to get the win tonight, so that's great. As far as being out there on the track, it was fun. Everyone was driving great. I think we only have one caution tonight. Other than that, everyone was clean, having fun, had a lot of tight battles. There towards the end, though, we had to start saving gas, so it made for an interesting finish. Luckily for our teammates, other than Lacey there towards the end, we ended up saving enough and making it. But I think all in all, 55 came out with a good finish tonight.
Yeah, you guys definitely needed to get back into the team championship standings after we saw that strong surge in the middle part of the season. But, you particular have had a really strong second half of the season, a lot of top threes. We see another one tonight. It's really setting you up to advance to the second round after Dover. I don't want to look too far ahead, but what are you going to have to do at the Monster Mile to make sure you make it there?
Just like I say every week to you guys, is keep the same mentality. Don't come in trying to win every race, as well as put as much practice in as I can. With this league, we do get practices during the week, and I try to take advantage of every practice you guys give us. So I think that benefits me as well as my teammates that do join, and I think we just work well together. Hopefully it stays like that for the next coming weeks and do better at Dover. I'd like to get a win, but it's hard with these good competitors in this league.
Well, man, we've talked about the playoff positioning for you and everything. We've talked about the season-long positioning for you as well. But let's talk about the team side of it because, man, 4 Filthy 5 drivers in the top 6. And now, Roell Smith Racing has a couple 100-point lead on you guys. Do you have what it takes to pull it back in?
I hope we do. We're trying every bit that we can. Like I said, we go in there and try to practice. We have that in the back of our minds as well. It's big to have the team points with the playoffs. Benefiting us having 3 of us in the playoffs as a team, as well as them, I think keeps the team battling very, very strong and fun for us. So hopefully we come in, try to win it. If not, they're one great team, great group of guys, and they've battled just as hard as we have.
Well, man, is there anybody you'd like to thank tonight before we get you right back to celebrating?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, SRN for having me in the league, and Filthy 5 for having me a part of the team. Shout out to my grandma and my mom, also my girlfriend for watching tonight. Appreciate everyone watching. And then, once again, another big shout out to Ellison for getting the win tonight. That was huge for him and us as a team. And as always, you guys. Once again, it's Sunday night. You guys put a lot of work during the week, make a great broadcast, so we appreciate your time as much as us racing.
Thanks, buddy. Well, we appreciate you being out there, and we will see you here really, really shortly. I believe you're going to be at the All-Star race, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. See, I got 1 out of 2 there, so we're good to go. All right, buddy. Well, have a great week, and we will see you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, and let's see what we can do to get our winner up here, Gabriel Ellison. And I can't wait to hear how excited he is because after 12 top 10s and no wins, this 13th one being the win has to have him excited. So, Gabriel Ellison, welcome up to the booth. Sean and Greg up here. Congratulations, buddy.
Oh, thank you. It feels really good. I'm really glad I got that one finally. That was a huge weight off the shoulders, I guess you'd say.
Oh. Yeah, well, sorry.
Go ahead, Greg. You're good.
Well, I was just going to go ahead and say, not to brag, I picked you, Gabriel, to win this race. You've been knocking on the door for so long, like you said, but this was not an easy win by any part. Tell us, when you started to start saving, when you realized you had to start saving, and how you really pulled that off, because, man, you were really chipping off the time there to catch up to Brandon Key, and then it just fell off by 2 seconds. So I'm imagining you were clutching the car going through the turns or something, right?
Yeah, so actually before we pit, we were all talking about it in Discord, and I realized, we're going to make a 1-stop. So I managed to clutch at the end before the pit stop to get myself 1 extra lap on that run. So then, that helped me at the end, obviously. And then I probably ran 15 laps or so, normal. And then, I noticed that the 2 in front of me, both of them had pit 2 laps early. And I knew I was going to have to save a lot. And I had 4 or 5 seconds behind me to 4th. So, at that point, I'm like, these guys in front of me are going to either pit or they're going to save so much I'm going to pass them. So I don't have to push at all. I could just clutch, coast around, and be all right. So once I realized those guys, it was Brandon Key and I think Kalal, once I realized that they were 2 laps shorter than me, I just really took it easy, ran the bottom the whole time, and rode the clutch really hard.
Well, man, all 3 of the Filthy 5 Motorsports drivers that are in the playoffs had fantastic nights tonight. What are your prospects with not only getting into the next round, but possibly taking this whole thing?
Yeah, man, it's pretty good. Unfortunately, I actually have to miss the championship race. I already know that. I'll be out of town, so that really sucks because I got a good shot at making it. But I think I got a good shot at least making that top 5, and I know that my teammates in the playoffs, they both had really good runs and helped me out a lot with the fuel calculations and stuff. So, I think one of us will be able to get it done.
Well, man, congratulations on a fantastic evening tonight. Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to thank Filthy 5 and especially Timothy Latham that race there. He, was giving me all his fuel numbers and stuff, and that helped that happen. That made that happen. And then thanks to Spees on the car. And thanks to everyone at SRN for putting the league on.
All right, buddy. Well, we're going to let you get right back to celebrating. Congratulations, and we will see you in 2 weeks at Dover.
All right, thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right.
Man, you gotta love seeing a first-time winner in SRN, huh, Sean?
Yes, you do. You do. And we have another chance for that because we still have some playoff drivers that have not won a race yet, but we're going to be right back at it in 2 weeks. So not next week. Next week we are off for Mother's Day, although we do have the All-Star race on Mother's Day. So not really sure how that all happened, but we do have the round of 15 week number 3, the Monster 200 at Dover International in 2 weeks. What do you see going on there?
Man, there's going to be a lot of hungry drivers sitting outside the cut, and a lot of those drivers, like I just mentioned, don't have a win on the season, so we could see a new winner in back-to-back weeks here in SRN's Cup Series. Holzer getting his first win of the season last week at Talladega. Gabriel getting his first win this week at Kansas. We could see the same thing next week at Dover. We saw a hungry Scott Kalal and Brandon Key out there really trying to make the moves that they needed to make sure that they set themselves up to advance. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for those two drivers. So we could be seeing them run up towards the front, along with another couple drivers too. So it's going to be exciting.
Well, man, the next broadcast we have is actually going to be the All-Star race, but the next league broadcast we have is going to be week 3 of the Truck Series playoffs, and that will be right back there at Dover International in the Monster 125, and that race is kind of heating up already too.
Yeah, I mean, sitting where I'm at in Xfinity, I'm not in the playoffs, and I'm kind of happy because this is when it gets to be very stressful for these drivers. It's cut week next week, and 5 guys are going to be packing their bags and no longer in contention for that big prize that they have sitting on the line here at SRN. So they're going to have to really put in the time. There's an extra week before we go to Dover, so that's an extra week for practice. They're going to have to really take advantage of that to really pull it off.
Well, if all you viewers have not already done so, please like and subscribe to the broadcast so that way we can let you know when our next races are. We do have that All-Star race coming up next Sunday night at the same time here, and so that's at 8:30 p.m. Central is when we're having that race. It's going to be a lot of fun, the ARCA cars at Indianapolis, but man, for right now, I think we're just all going to go take a breath, but we always let you know to go faster.